Hi guys, and welcome to a video about, drum roll, our favourite show as autistics to watch, Love on the Spectrum. So in the US, season 3 is out, and Love on the Spectrum.
Hi, it's Matt. It's Dyan. Welcome back to OK Aussie. She's ridiculous. She is in tears. She is loving Love on the Spectrum.
I am.
She's very relatable.
Because
It's very
two
cute,
people
actually.
just united as a couple.
I know, right?
And then I think there's another one that's going to be. I've just started.
We've only just started.
But I
It's on
think
Netflix.
there's two couples that are going to be
Series
becoming a
season
couple.
3.
As in a couple.
I know, right? So relatable. Anyway, back to the series.
Anyway, so I want to talk about, because the show is so warm and fuzzy, watch it for that experience, because I think that we need to be seen as warm and fuzzy, not just difficult. Okay, so definitely make sure your neurotypical friends are watching it too. But what I want to talk about actually is my generation and the different strategies along the years of what they've used on children like autistics, who we have a lot encapsulated in that spectrum, such as developmental delays, intellectual delays, learning disabilities, we have social age issues, bullying problems, special education needs. There's a lot of factors, okay, that a child has to go through. Learning scripting of how to function, because socially we don't have the sophisticated speech. So even when we begin to speak, which a lot of us don't, for, mine was 11 years, some people are 10, some people are 9, everyone's different. But when we did speak to family and people we could do, it was immature speech and not sophisticated. Hence why the selective mutism is such a big situation in autism in the spectrum. Now, we do know that, of course, there's non-verbals that are always non-verbal. They start out that way and it always ends that way for some cohort of our autistic people. So, and look, I can read their body language well. I can read, it's almost like a telepathic thing I feel towards them, but I am not a non-verbal autistic in the sense where I have never been able to communicate, so I can't speak for them. And I'm pretty sure their carers can do probably a better job for that, people that work with them. But anyway, what I will speak about is our autistic peeps that find life difficult because we're not non-verbals, but we're not high functioning. We're kind of in between. And that's the hardest place to be, because it's not as obvious to some people, because personally I think that's just like rubbish, but I think people see what they want to see. Sorry, I'm just going to straighten out my heat pad. I've got a sore back because I had to finish my art project today. So, paying the price. I'm a glutton for punishment. Anyway, don't know what glutton means. But all I know is I did a thing and I know it's going to make me hurt. I cannot complain. One cannot complain. It was self-inflicted. But basically, I want to talk about my experience of becoming a child at home, whether I was a child or turning into an adult child. The transition of that for me was terrible. Terrible due to lack of understanding, lack of taking the needs seriously that were warned in my younger years, due to neglect, really. There's no nice way of saying it, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, because one thing on 50 years of being on this earth, My parents do not deserve the benefit of the doubt anymore. They have neglected me and have continued to do that, even though I have tween 2Q, which is even more serious and the reason for my autism. But they have never ever stepped up as a child, for me as a child, and they've never stepped up as me when I've been an adult. And times when they have, it has been conditional, it has been strings attached that have been used against me. So I've never had safe, unconditional love from my parents. So naturally, being a female autistic, I've always been put at risk. I have not been protected. I was not educated on life skills. It was ignored. Yes, I'd be given scripts, say this, say that, for her embarrassment, my mother. Not for my benefit, but for her embarrassment issues. So, and I even had, through my stepfather's nephews and nieces, and there was a niece particularly that one day, I was 13, and because I was around people that I don't know well, even though I saw them quite a lot, but I still, after 11, would go non-verbal in certain situations, and there was nothing you could do about it. If it came along, it was there. So I had actually one of the cousins who was at least 3 years older than me literally say, "Why are you not speaking? What is wrong with you? Like, really, what's wrong with you? You know, like, you seem so stupid to me." And her mum told her off, but in a way of like, "Hey, I agree with you, child, but I'm going to tell you off because it's a socially acceptable thing to do." Anyway, my mother never helped me through these things. She never truly fought for me, defended me, just left me to the wolves, basically. And that is not a good way to start adulthood. It's not a good way to be raised. Because I'm talking, like I said, from younger ages, underage. So I had quite a traumatic transition from childhood to teenage / young adulthood. And the pressure put on me was of a neurotypical. And that's what caused some of the abuse to get more severe, because my mother insisted that I was doing it on purpose. Being difficult, not understanding things, not acting the same way as maybe my peers or just other people. And she thought that I was just being difficult, rebellious, naughty. And she was embarrassed by me. Let's just be honest there. Once again, I call a spade, and I give people chances. And my mother's had 50 years to fix this, and she never has. So the fact is, she's ashamed of me. She's ashamed of how I behave. She would, even as an adult, in having conversations in family gatherings, I would be told to shut up, even in adulthood. And I don't know how to explain that kind of pain, because I don't know, with my ADHD, my interrupting, and my, this is in my 20s. I hadn't learnt life yet. I was a struggling autistic ADHD young adult, and all I knew to do was just to do my best. It was never good enough. And comparing me to my brother all the time, who was a perfectionist like my mum, and who, strived to be a millionaire, all he wanted to do was be a millionaire, and, and all he does really now with his, he just plays with his boats, really. Like, not now the toy ones, the big ones. So he was the overachiever and I was the disappointment. And also there was roles in my family through religion. You're going to get married and have kids. You don't need an education. You don't need to be developed into your special interests or nothing like that. The only person that actually tried to make sure that my special interest was being looked into was one of my grandfathers, which sadly though he passed away when I was 17. One of the hardest, because he was my first, deaths that I've ever experienced, except for I did have a traumatic experience with a dancing friend who I also went to school with. We used to live in we were in Hillary's and our high school was in Padbury. And we used to have to cross a busy road called Marmion Avenue. Busy road. And there was an underpass, but there was always dodgy people. So it wasn't safe for us females. Funny that. It's also not safe to cross a road. And most of us would push our bikes crossing the road. And at 13, she got hit by a car. She died. And it created a phobia for me crossing the road. It created a trauma crossing the road because I clicked with her at dancing, even though she was, I think, a year or so younger than me at my school, but she was at my dancing school. And so that was traumatic. And I found that really hard to, I don't know, like, it was really, really hard to, I didn't speak of it, you see. And this is the thing about autism. If people are neglecting you and leaving you to your own devices, no one knows you're suffering. It's bad. So I love seeing these parents so parenting so lovingly, so acceptingly. So non-judgmental. So happy for the things that are a win that maybe to other people is stupid, but to us on the spectrum is huge. Sorry about that, guys, but basically, Sir's cooking his dinner. He's having Chico rolls. I'm so jealous. Anyway, seeing these parents just be so understanding that of whatever they've just achieved is huge. The understanding of how to treat them through the whole experience, you know, the education of social stories that I would have loved to have heard, the protectiveness which I didn't get, hence why a lot of bad things happened to me. And once again, I'll call a spade a spade. That's my mother's fault. She wanted me to have an older boyfriend and it was totally inappropriate. And she put me in an abuse situation, and that's all it was. And this is why I'm telling you, female autistics need protecting, particularly when they are teenagers and becoming adults. End of story. I mean, that's for all girls, but you add in autism, we don't pick up on flirting. Okay, even now, someone could flirt with me and it would just be like that. We don't have the sophisticated social skills. I know we have so many skills, we fool people, but we have gaps, guys. We have gaps that I can't even list them all because I don't know what gaps I have. I'm not you if you're neurotypical. This is aimed really for neurotypicals. But if you can relate to this as an autistic, thumbs up to you, because what we've overcome And even if you didn't overcome it, don't feel bad. Having autism and navigating, like Love on the Spectrum is the example of becoming into relationships, is hard. Relationships for us, we experience a lot of trauma. We get very, very attached to certain family members, and when we can't have access to them or we don't get to see them anymore as much or whatever, it really affects us. Family members can have a lot of power over us, manipulate us, make us do things we don't want to do, and then we realize, I was manipulated. We didn't know the word, but we had the feeling of like tricked, I guess you could say, as a kid. Particularly by siblings as well. If you don't have a sibling that's educated on how to be a good sibling to an autistic, I got bullied so severely by my brother that when I told him as an adult, look, you really hurt me. And I wasn't talking mainly about childhood. I was actually talking about the continuation into adulthood. And he just said, that's for the parents to correct, not me. That's not on me. And I'm just thinking, I'm just wanting to have a nice, constructive conversation, adult to adult. But he wasn't having it. He gaslit me and said that it's our parents' fault. Well, I disagree, because even when I was a little girl and I was autistic, I knew one thing. Don't be nasty. Don't go around thinking you're better than anyone else. Don't go around putting people down. Anyway, he just wasn't having it. And I said to him, well, I'm just telling you straight. You got treated like a prince, and I got treated like Cinderella, like a piece of shit. My mum and stepdad left me just at 17. I just turned 17 and got my license. Left to live in Canberra for 6 months for work. I was working full-time as a checkout chick. I didn't choose that job. My mum did. I'm better than that. But anyway, I used to be a dance teacher at night and on the weekends and dance myself as well. So it was all good. That got me through. But I'm just saying, I did not choose that job, literally. I begged to go to TAFE. I begged to do education. But I was told you're going to get married and have kids. You don't need an education. You're a female. Some families are still like that in my generation. And so I'm working full-time there. All of a sudden, I've got these instructions on how to cook. I've got an unemployed uncle who does nothing. I've got my brother who's at uni, so he's precious. Don't bother him. Okay. I have to clean, cook, shop, do the dishes. I'm just 17. I'm working full time, and I'm talking 9-hour days, because my lunch break for an hour in those days, we didn't have good rules for work. We had to give up that hour as being our time. That was our time. So I had 9-hour days out of the house, driving there and back. I'm autistic. I wasn't coping. So instead of like, even though like, you know, everyone in my age group was dating, I wasn't. I was in fact, while alone, actually finally keeping that person away from me that was abusing me by absolutely blocking him from getting access to my house, to ringing the phone, all of that. So basically, I wasn't even dating. I was so busy. I failed at cooking, so I got complaints from my brother. I got complaints from my uncle about not doing the dishes. He was unemployed, guys. Just want to repeat that. Basically, I got invited out by friends to go to HJ's, and I was like, Forget it. I'm leaving the dishes till I get back. And I actually remember saying that. Like, I'm leaving the dishes till I get back. I'm going out with my friends. And these men are treating me like dirt. Like, I can't believe how I survived. I was so scared. I never wanted to fail. And it was so hard being raised by perfectionistic parents because the pressure was high. And at dancing, that was the only place I could be a perfectionist and I could succeed. But then that came with pressure. And I don't know if you've seen Dance Mums and watched Maddie, who was under pressure. Maddie Ziegler, which is the top dancer in the regards to the dance teacher's feelings anyway. That's how she felt. And that's me. And it's great. I feel like I achieved high level of my dance. My grandmother's a dance teacher, but anyway, the pressure on you when you were one of the good dancers and you put front center, the pressure, and I'm talking huge. Dance teachers are not like loving little mollycoddling little people. It is coaching. It is conditioning. It is strict. There's no room for mistake and no room for bad technique and no room for, messing around, and a lot of pressure was on me. But I wanted to achieve that. I thrived on that. I needed the structure. I needed the techniques to be exactly the same because then I knew what I was doing. I needed that structure. I wanted that structure. I thrived on that structure. That wasn't the problem. But at home, I can't be a great cook straight away at 17, autistic. I'm delayed. I can't, I wasn't coping. I go food shopping and I'm struggling. Like, what do you buy? What do you buy? And then what do you buy? Oh, why did you buy this? And why haven't you bought this? And I'm just like, I don't know how to do this. So I said, I'm going out. One of my friends rang. We went to HJ's. We had HJ's and mucked around and sat there and ate inside HJ's, And I get home. It wasn't sort of like that, because I tried to cook early so I could get out. But we sort of had an early dinner thing because they went off to more things, but Square Bear me, I wanted to go home and watch Star Trek. And hey, Saturday. Anyway, I come home and I go upstairs and I go into my bedroom and I open my door. And there was dirty dishes on my bed. And I have OCD. So I went downstairs and I was angry. I said to my uncle, because my brother wasn't at home, why did you do that? Why would you do that? Like, at first it was a hurt of why would you do that to me? I looked at him, I said, why would you do this to me? I've spoken to your mother on the phone and she told me to do so. And I was like, yeah, typical. Yep, This woman hates me. It's not easy when your mother hates you guys. It's a really hard place to be. No child should ever know no matter how old you are, you should never feel hated by your mother. Anyway, I get in my car and I reversed too quickly. I lost control and reversed into the street pole and I got stuck. So I raced inside. I'm heading into meltdown mode mid-time. But I'm trying not to because I'm like, I'm not going to have a meltdown here. I'm going to, if I have to, I'll do it around the corner at the park. And just park there and just have my meltdown. I've had many meltdowns in a car. So that people can't see me. And he got it out. So that was kind, wasn't it? You know, thanks. I drove to my dad's place. He gets on the phone. He says that's not cool. That's not okay. And I agreed with him. I was like, thank God. Thank goodness. Stepping up, Dad. Well done. This is a first. It's nice to actually feel like you're not just some kind of uncle, but like you're actually being a dad. But then it ended up being a fight between them about their stuff. And I got forgotten along the way. And then it still turned into, well, you should still do your jobs that you've been given around the house. And it's just like, you know, I didn't have the sophistication to explain, but hang on, you don't understand. You don't understand that they're not lifting a finger and I'm cooking, cleaning, shopping, working full time. For someone who's at university, which is so flexible, I've been there. Later on, I've been there. And I was raising 2 children and cleaning houses to pay for some of the books, etc. for TAFE and uni. So don't give me that crap. No. That's rubbish. He was spoiled. I would go to school with a stale or no food. Or a stale Vegemite sandwich every day, 12 years. But pretty much, otherwise nothing. My brother would get a sausage roll and chopped milk because he doesn't like sandwiches. I said, nor do I. Well, I'm like thinking, it's the difference between him and me. And I always blamed my autism because I knew that the reason, unless I was being cute, you know, that the reason that I was so frustrating to everyone was my autism. So I never really defended myself much because I felt guilty of being different and having meltdowns. I mean, I can't express, guys. I've always had meltdowns. I still have meltdowns. And the shame you feel never leaves. Not like it just stacks up onto the other one. It's like a rock and it just wraps another thing and you just carry it with you of just these bundles of meltdowns, guilt basically, that you carry everywhere you go because you feel like other adults can control themselves. Why can't I control myself? I'm an adult now. Now I'm in my 20s now. I'm in my 30s now. I'm in my 40s now. I'm in my 50s. Why can't I control myself? And also the frustration of these others that can have all the power. Because they can. They have control. Autistics don't have control. A neurological misfire is basically what a meltdown is. It's not a tantrum. We're not doing it to get something. We're not doing it like we don't want people being around us when it's going on. So we don't want attention. It is just embarrassing. But it's something we have to live with. And it's something that we have to manage. But I just can't believe the guidance, the acceptance, the love that now is happening towards autistic children. I think that's fantastic. Max, leave the birds alone. He's playing with his sisters. He thinks it's super cool to play with the budgies. It's not cool. It's just not cool. Anyway, one of them loves him though, so they're both in on this. It'll be Belle. Belle loves Max. Max loves Belle. I just want to say to any other parent out there, just watching you people treat your autistic so beautifully, even if you're not always getting it right, just warms my heart, heals my heart. Because we must remember there's many me's out there, or families that don't accept them for who they are. And to really just feel relaxed and free and feel like they can be themselves, they can't be around their family, and their family don't want them around. And we do get taken advantage of. I've been taken advantage of more than that one scenario I just gave you. I've always been taken advantage of by family members. Even your own family will do it. Friends will do it. Work colleagues will do it. Protect your autistic person. I used to feel that, stop trying to control me. But some people, not all of them, some people do want to control you. Some people want to protect you. And so now I'm good at discerning, kind of, that in certain situations it's like, okay, this person's just trying to keep me safe. And that's really good. But it's all too late for me. But I'm glad to see that these young ones have been raised as an autistic child well, that they've been given a teenagehood, that's great, and young adulthood and guidance and someone to talk to. Someone who knows what they need, the gaps. Because I still don't have that, I feel. Because they assume I've been given the gaps. They got to find out where my gaps are. So it's hard when you are a kind of a veteran, old autistic. It's really hard. And I have to do a lot of that work myself, and that's okay. I've always had an interest in human behaviour naturally. I've studied psychology. I find it fascinating. And we're all not that really different. Let me clarify that. Autistics are very different, and we're all the same. And neurotypicals are pretty much all the same. And then there's some behaviours that doesn't matter whether you're autistic or not, all the same. That's a fact. I've studied at university. But it just warms my heart to see love on the spectrum. I love seeing what I'm seeing. I love what these parents are saying. It feels right, because I think of, like, if I was that age and I was going through that phase now, and I had those parents and they're doing this to me, saying this to me, everything, and how it's all unraveling. There's certain ones more than others where I feel like they're being treated in a way that I would have dreamed of. And I wonder who I would be with that support sooner. I wonder how far I could have come if given the opportunity. Because one thing I do know I am is I'm better than a checkout job as a career. Because I'm not saying that job's not a job and it's not valuable. I've done it to bring in the money for the household off and on. I've done jobs like that. There's no shame in that. And there's no shame in that if you like it as a job and that's what you do. There's no shame in that. But I'm just saying, for me, I am a high achiever. That's competition with myself. I love to succeed at something that's a challenge. I like that. So I wanted to go further. I, in fact, didn't want to have kids originally. I didn't want to have kids. I wanted to work in something that was really, I guess, meaningful to me. And then it was only, I guess, when I met Matt that it was like, I felt, I want to be a mom. And it was like real intense pulling and real intense maternal feelings of, I'm ready to be a mom. Like, I think it is a calling. I really truly believe that this hormonal thing, it just tells you, it just says, come on. And you try and push it away and you can't. It's just maternal instincts. That's why, like, I'm one of those mums that enjoyed every single bit of it, even though it was hard, damn hard. I'm talking really hard, especially when you're disabled and you need lots of support from your family and your partner who, like I said, family use it against you, and they certainly like to do so. In my situation, toxic families, that I just, hats off to you and saluting to you, all you parents who have guided your autistic child to give them the best you can. And you've tried your best. It doesn't matter if you're perfect or not, because people aren't perfect. What matters is the intentions and the love and the support and the consistent ongoing. You're there for your child for life. And you respect trying to learn autism and your child. I just cannot say how heartwarming that is, but it's huge. And it's something that, just think of it this way, we're healing previous generations. For us to see this, who never had that understanding, support, I don't know what the word is, assistance, I guess, unconditional love for who we were. Yes, we are us, but you can't separate the autism. The autism's mixed with our personality, so it's us. It's so intertwined, it's like you can't go in there and operate and separate it. We have personalities that are different, of course, but you can't take out the autism. And it's just sad to me that they liked some parts of my personality, but they hated all of the autism, and that makes me sad. I just don't understand that, because I don't feel like that with my children. I don't think my children could ever disappoint me to the point where I would just give up on them. And my parents gave up on me probably the day they got divorced, to be honest. But, you know, I just think it's amazing that parents just, with their autistics, just go straight in there and go, right, I'm going to make sure I'm the best autistic parent ever. I'm seeing that so much, and just to you for that, because you don't know how huge that is. Because I know that if I was given that parent, how much more exciting my life would have been and could be now, like, because we all have something that's our superpower. We all have that ability, and it's our superpower, to make people laugh, to always be like, yes, our emotions are all over the place, especially us female autistics. We can be 1 minute like, oh my goodness, I want to jump off a bridge, to the next minute, this is the best day ever. It's a little bit like that. we have hormones and stuff. But the fact is, we're chirpy, we're happy, we're chill, we're not that hard. I'm sorry, but like we're just not. I think the only time we become hard is when you put someone toxic with us, and then we become like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm sorry, but it's just, I think it's the bullying we've suffered since childhood, the challenges we've had, the frustration of acceptance, all of that just comes into when we meet a toxic person, we just want to go, bring it on. I'm ready for a fight. Now, I'm not talking like I'm not a nasty person. I'm not someone that's like, I'm just talking like in that little rebellious way of like, nah, sometimes us autistics do that. And I think it's more of the ones of those that also have the ADHD in the mix. We get a little bit, pervasive demand avoidance, where we know what we should be doing and we know that we should be behaving in a certain way, but we don't give a shit in that moment. We just want to fuck shit up and walk out and laugh. And it's not good. I'm trying not to laugh right now. It's socially inappropriate, and we know that, but we do it anyway. Yeah. It's a thing. Now, neurotypical disorder has their own problems. So we listen and we don't judge. Keep rocking it, parents. Keep getting your autistic child in all aspects of their life. At the beginnings. Do it great. You're doing well. Keep going. Keep going. I mean, let's just see what this next generation's going to do, because you guys have changed it. I've raised an autistic son too. He's 30. We broke the chain. We did it. And because of that, they have a better life than we did.